Dear students, welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the delay in posting the science target 80 and 80 for biology because of my illness. I couldn't post the videos from past 2 days. Today, uh, I'm posting this video. Do watch the complete video from the biology part C biology. You can score 27 marks, physics 28 marks, and chemistry 25 marks. Do watch all the revisions again and again. Do try to learn the important questions what I've been sharing in my YouTube channel, and also do join the WhatsApp channel. All this many of the students were asking for this PDF. Definitely I'll be sharing this PDF in my Telegram group or the WhatsApp channel. Do join those groups and download the PDFs, the documents what I am sharing. Definitely this will help you to score good marks. See, these three revisions will entirely from the previous year board papers. Almost around 8 to 10 papers I have revised. This means that many of the concepts from the textbooks has been covered and maximum questions has been covered. If you try to study all these things with along with the textbook, definitely you can score good marks in science. Dear students, if you are not subscribed the channel, do subscribe the channel. I'll be posting important videos, and also from the examination point of view, important videos will be shared. Now we'll start. Unit life process, very important chapter from the examination point of view. Do try to learn all these questions what we are going to learn now. Dear students, do watch the complete video. Do learn each and every question. Definitely it will help you to score better marks in the examination. First question: under what condition lactic acid is produced in the muscle cells? Lactic acid is produced in the muscle cells when there is lack of oxygen. Next, explain the process of translocation of food materials in plants. See, what is translocation? Translocation is nothing but it is the process of transport of food materials in the phloem tissue. That is, translocation of food materials occur in the phloem tissue of plants. This process takes place. The translocation of food takes place in the sieve tubes with the help of adjacent companion cells, both in upward and downward direction. The transport of food in phloem takes place both in upward and downward direction. This process is the process of translocation is achieved by osmotic pressure. Next, explain the process of digestion in small intestine. We know that small intestine is the site of complete digestion of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. The enzymes present in the intestinal juice converts proteins into amino acids, complex carbohydrates into glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol. The digested food is absorbed by villi presence in the walls of the intestine and transported to other parts of the body through blood. Draw the diagram showing the sectional view of human heart. Very important diagram for examination. 4 marks diagram. Heart or brain is a definite question for your examination. Do practice and learn. Next question. The correct statement related to digestion in small intestine. Acidic food is made alkaline by bile juice. The food made acidic by the action of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, that should be made alkaline by the action of bile juice, so that the bile salts will act on the fats. Next, name the products of anaerobic respiration. Ethanol and carbon dioxide are the products of anaerobic respiration. Diagram of open pore stomata, 2 marks diagram. Do practice it. Diagrams given below represents hearts of 3 different animals. Observe it and answer the question. Among this, which heart is helpful to animals that require more energy? See, if we see, the heart number 2 has more chambers when compared to other hearts. Therefore, more the number of chambers, that means higher the efficiency. The heart 2 is more efficient because oxygenated and deoxygenated blood will not mix together in this heart. Efficient supply of oxygen to the body. which is helpful to maintain the body temperature, which is present in the aves and mammals. The approximate length of small intestine of animals X and Y are given in the table. Observe it and answer the question. Animal X has intestine 20 to 40 feet, animal Y has 5 to 8 feet. Here animal X is herbivorous, animal Y is carnivorous, because the small intestine is longer in herbivorous than in carnivorous, because herbivores consume plants which is full of cellulose and digestion of cellulose takes place, whereas herbivores needs a longer small intestine for the cellulose to be digested, whereas the meat is easier to digest, therefore the carnivores has shorter small intestine. Next question. The rate of breathing in aquatic organism is much faster than that seen in the terrestrial. The rate of breathing is more in the aquatic animals. Why? Because the oxygen present in the water is in the dissolved form. The oxygen is in the dissolved form, whereas the amount of dissolved oxygen is fairly low as compared to the amount of oxygen in the air. Therefore, the rate of breathing in aquatic animals is much faster than that seen in the terrestrial organism. The body temperature of frogs and lizards depend on temperature in the environment, because both frogs and lizards have three-chambered heart. The reptiles have three-chambered heart. Oxygenated and deoxygenated blood mix in the heart. Therefore, production of energy become less. Therefore, the energy cannot be used to maintain constant body temperature. Therefore, they depend on the temperature in the environment. Again, repeated question. Diagram of human heart. Do practice well, students. From the examination point of view, diagrams are very important. The site of complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats are, the correct answer is small intestine. The place where complete digestion of food take place is what? Small intestine. Next question. Eating chapati by chewing it very slowly tastes sweeter, because when the chapati is chewed for some time, it tastes sweeter because the saliva produced by the salivary glands consists of an enzyme called as amylase. This enzyme converts the starch present in the chapati into sugar, hence it tastes sweeter. How are the functions of arteries, veins and capillaries are interrelated in the circulation of blood? Arteries carry blood away from the heart to various organs of the body. On reaching an organ or the tissue, the arteries divides into smaller and smaller vessels to bring the blood in contact with all the individual cells. Dear student, arteries carry blood away from the heart. Understand? Arteries carry what? Blood away from the heart to various organs of the body. On reaching an organ or the tissue, the arteries divide into smaller and smaller vessels to bring the blood in contact with the individual cells. Exchange of materials between the blood and the surrounding takes place across a thin wall of small vessels called as capillaries. The capillaries then join together to form veins. Veins convey the blood away from the organ or tissue. Veins collect the blood from different organs and bring back to the heart. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood to the heart. Right? Do try to understand. How does transportation of water takes place over the heights in a plant? At the roots, the cells in contact with soil takes up ions. At the roots, the cells which are present in the roots, what happens? They take up ions. See, because of this, there is a difference of ion concentration between the root and the soil. Because of this difference, what happens? The water moves into the root to eliminate this difference. There is a steady movement of water into the root system, creating a column of water, whereas this column of water is steadily pushed upwards. Evaporation of water molecules from the stomata of leaves due to transpiration creates a suction which pulls the water from the xylem cells of the root. Very important question. Next, the blood vessels that carry blood from all the parts of the body, human body, to the heart are veins. Plants get rid of excess of water by this process. By the process of transpiration, excess water is lost in the plant. Next question, the blood vessels that carry deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs in the human body is pulmonary arteries. The transport of soluble products of photosynthesis in plants is called as translocation. What is translocation? It is the process of transportation of food materials by phloem is called as translocation. Next question, ventricles of the human heart have thick wall. It is necessary to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in mammals and birds. Ventricles of the human heart have thick walls because it has to pump blood to the various organs of the body. Hence, the ventricles have thick wall. Why it is necessary to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in mammals is to maintain the constant body temperature. It requires higher amount of energy. It needs to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood to maintain the constant body temperature. Which molecule is formed during the first step of cellular respiration by the breakdown of glucose molecule in cytoplasm? During the breakdown of glucose, what is the first product we get? We get 6 carbon molecule. Glucose is converted into 3 carbon molecule. The first product is a 3 carbon molecule. It is called as pyruvate. The types of respiration are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Atmospheric oxygen is utilized in case of aerobic respiration. Atmospheric oxygen is not utilized. Liberates more energy with carbon dioxide and water. Liberates with less energy with ethanol and carbon dioxide. Takes place in mitochondria. Anaerobic respiration takes place in cytoplasm. Takes place in higher levels of organism. Takes place in lower organisms like yeast. Next, what are the factors essential for photosynthesis? Mention the events that occur during this process and represent this process by balanced chemical equation. What are the factors that are essential for photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, water, minerals, sunlight and chlorophyll. What are the events that takes place during photosynthesis? The first step is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Next, conversion of this light energy into chemical energy and splitting of water molecule H2 into hydrogen and oxygen. Reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Equation 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, gives C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. In plants, the major function of xylem is transportation of water. Structure of human excretory system. Do practice. What are the stages of double circulation? Dear students, you can see in an examination many questions has been repeated and also more question has been asked from life process. Do try to learn the complete chapter. The transportation of blood in heart. The oxygen-rich blood from the lungs comes to what? The oxygen-rich blood from the lungs comes to left atrium. When the left atrium relaxes and contracts, the blood gets transferred to left ventricle. From the left ventricle, when the left ventricle is contracts, the blood is pumped out of the body to aorta. Deoxygenated blood comes from the body to the right atrium. When the right atrium contracts, the blood gets transferred to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, what happens? The blood goes to the lungs for oxygenation. These are the stages of double circulation. You can see at a time both oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood is pumped. Hence, it is called as double circulation. Mention the event that occur during photosynthesis in plants. What are the methods used by the plants to get rid of excretory products? Events that occur during photosynthesis already we have studied. Absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll, conversion of light energy into chemical energy, and decomposition of water into hydrogen and oxygen, reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Methods to get rid of excretory product in plant. Excess of water removed by transpiration. Excess of water removed by the process of transpiration remove oxygen and carbon dioxide gases through stomata. Waste product and dead cells in the vacuole by shedding leaves and barks. Resins and gums get stored in old xylem, diffusing certain waste into the surrounding soil. These are the ways by which the plant get rid of the excretory products. Next question. Observe the following figures. Which figure indicates the massive amount of exchange of gases? The figure 1 or the open stomata, because the stomatal pore is open, then massive exchange of gases will take place because the stomatal pore is open. Name the parts of X and Y. X is guard cell, Y is stomatal pore. The function of guard cell is to regulate the opening and closing of stomatal pore. Explain the digestion of food materials in stomach and small intestine. We know that in the stomach we have gastric glands present in the walls of the stomach. It is hydrochloric acid, pepsin and mucus. Hydrochloric acid creates acidic medium which facilitates the action of pepsin. Pepsin acts on this acidified food for the digestion of protein. That is, pepsin digests protein. Small intestine, it receives pancreatic juice and bile juice. Bile juice makes the food alkaline. Bile salts helps in the emulsification of fat in the small intestine. Trypsin present in the small pancreatic juice helps to digest the proteins. Lipids break down the emulsified fat. Enzyme present in the small intestinal juice converts protein into amino acid, complex carbohydrates into glucose, and fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Explain the role of xylem and phloem in the transportation of materials in plants. We know that xylem is a water conducting tissue. In xylem tissue, vessels and tracheids of the root, stem and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channel reaching all the parts of the plant. Transpiration, the loss of water through stomata creates a suction pressure, creates a column of water. Because of this, what happens? The water is steadily pushed upward with dissolved minerals in it. Phloem is a food conducting tissue. Phloem translocates soluble products of photosynthesis, amino acid and other substances from the leaves to storage organs of roots, fruits and seed and to the growing organs. Translocation takes place in seed tube with the help of companion cell both in upward and downward direction. Osmotic pressure helps the water to move into the phloem tissue and other materials from the phloem to other tissues. Draw the diagram showing the structure of nephron and part label glomerulus. Do practice the structure of nephron and also the function of nephron. Difference between xylem and phloem. Xylem helps in transport of water and minerals. Phloem helps in transport of food. Flow of material is unidirectional, only one direction. In phloem, the flow of food is two direction, that is upward and downward. Xylem, tracheids and vessels transport materials from root to shoot. Sieve tubes and companion cell transport materials to all the parts from leaves. Works by suction pressure, works by osmotic pressure. Name the process of exchange of gases that takes place through stomata. In plants, the large intercellular spaces and all the cells are often in contact there. Due to this, carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged by diffusion air. This means gases can go into the cells and away from them and out into the air. How is structure of human are supportive in transporting oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood? Human heart has different chambers, especially in human we have 4 chambers. The valves present in between the chambers present a backward flow of blood separated by a dividing wall called as septum. Septum is responsible for creating a separate pathways to transport oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. In humans, how digested food is absorbed by the blood. Mention the function of blood in transporting necessary material. Observed by finger-like projections called as villi present in the small intestine. The blood plasma transport food, carbon dioxide and nitrogen waste. The red blood cells carries oxygen many other substances like salts are also transported by the blood. And also do study about the function of lymph, and these are the other important questions. Do try to learn and score good marks in your examination. All these questions are very important. Try to, instead of beheading any question, what you can do, try to understand the concept, discuss with the teacher, discuss with your friends the concept. That if you clear the concept, you will be able to answer any question in the examination. Do try to study the textbook. Unit control and coordination. We'll see the important question from the previous year board papers. Why it is important to revise the previous year board papers? Because many concept and question will be covered in those papers. So if you revise, many of the questions can be, many of the concepts will be repeated in the examination. First question: the correct pathway of movement of nerve impulses in the following diagram is. It is from PRSQ, from dendrites to nucleus, from the nucleus to axon to nerve ending. That is PRSQ. Therefore, the correct answer is option D. Draw the diagram showing the structure of nephron and label the parts. The part which has prominent nucleus and important diagram for 2 marks. Do practice. Next, imagine the following situations. Clapping at the end of the program, fluctuating blood pressure in the body. How these situations are functional different. Voluntary actions, clapping at the end of a program, action performed based on the thinking, controlled by forebrain. Whereas second situation is a involuntary action, action without thinking, controlled by hindbrain. We withdraw our leg when stepped on thorn unknowingly, because there is a sequence of events which occur in this action, which part of the human nervous system control this action. Receptors receive the stimulus of pain. Messages reach the spinal cord through sensory neuron. The responses reach motor neuron through association neuron. Again, from there, responses reach effectors through motor neuron. Muscles withdraw the leg. So this events takes place in the spinal cord without the involvement of brain. That is called as reflex action. The pathway involved in the reflex action is called as reflex arc. Which part is responsible? Spinal cord is responsible for this action. The incorrect statement related to thyroxine hormone among the following is: it regulates fat metabolism, its deficiency leads to goiter, iodine in the food is essential for its production. All these are correct, whereas option C is wrong. It is secreted by parathyroid gland. Wrong. It is secreted by thyroid gland. Name the given structure. What is its general function? Mention the functions of the label as A and B. This structure is animals are said to be efficient way to give quick responses. Why? It is reflex arc. The pathway involved in the reflex action is called as reflex arc. It gives sudden action in response to the event that happening in the environment. The sudden action is caused by the spinal cord, right? In case of anything which is happening in the environment. A is sensory neuron, B is effectors. It conducts the impulse of the stimulus from receptor to the spinal cord. Effector, which shows the sudden visible response. The reflex arcs have evolved in animals because the thinking process of the brain is not fast enough in many animals. Meanwhile, many animals have very little of the complex neural network needed for thinking. Hence, spinal cord helps. So it can function in the absence of true thought process and increase the chances of survival. A person's face has become pale and his breathing rate has increased due to fear. Analyze the process which enables the person to deal with this situation. What is happening here? The emergency hormone called as adrenaline is directly secreted into the blood. The blood to the skin is reduced Due to the contraction of muscles around the small arteries, the breathing rate increases because of the contractions of the diaphragm and rib muscles. The heart beats faster and supplies more blood to the muscles. So, in this situation, the emergency hormone adrenaline is secreted into the blood. The blood to the skin is reduced and the breathing rate increases because the heart beats faster, resulting in the supply of more blood to the muscles for the action. Draw the diagram showing the longitudinal section of human brain. Very important diagram for 4 marks. It's been repeating for many years. Are the human heart or the brain? It a definite question for your examination. The hormone that regulates carbohydrates, protein and fat metabolism in the human body is thyroxine. A pot that has growing seedling is kept in a dark room. A burning candle is placed near it for a few days. The top part of the seedling bends towards the light of the burning candle. This is because of the phototropism. Plants show movement towards the sunlight. Because of that, we call it as phototropism. The gap between two neurons is called as synapse. A plant hormone that inhibits the growth of plants is abscisic acid. Inhibits the growth. The center of reflection action is spinal cord. The correct pathway of electrical impulse in a neuron is dendrite cell body, axon and axon end. Mention the functions of the following plant. Auxin helps the cells in the stems and the cells in many parts of the plant body to grow longer. Auxin helps to grow longer. It is present in the tips of the plant body. Cytokinin promotes cell division in fruits and seeds, helps in promoting overall growth of plants. See, again the question has been repeated. Human brain, do practice well. An example for positive geotrophism is upward growth of roots. Which hormone inhibits the growth of plants? It is abscisic acid. See, again the human brain diagram has been repeated. Dear students, by this revision you'll be able to understand which question has been repeated, which concept has been repeated in the examination. Do try to concentrate more on it. A person immediately starts running soon after observing the correct transmission path of the reflex impulse is correct answer is option B, from the receptor sensory neuron, from the sensory neuron to spinal cord to relay neuron, from the relay neuron we have motor neuron, then effector. Therefore the correct answer is option B. What is the role of abscisic acid in plants? It inhibits the growth of the plant. Again the human diagram. Dear students, you can see the human brain diagram has repeated maximum times, so do practice well. As growth advances in the climbing part, the creeper that appears as the plant is moving towards a particular direction. For touch or thigmotropism, when the tendrils of the creeper plants come in contact with the support, when the tendrils of these creeper plants comes in contact with the support, the plant circles around it and grows faster. When the tendrils get attached to the support, what happens? Tips of the plant synthesize auxin hormone that the higher concentration stimulates the elongation of cell. Then the plant show directional movement towards the sunlight. Explain the necessity of chemical communication in animals. In animals, chemical communication is necessary. In animals, electrical impulses will reach only the cells that are connected by nervous tissue, but not each and every cell. In animals, electrical impulses will reach only the cells that are connected by nervous tissue, but not to each and every cell, whereas the nerve cells cannot create and transmit electrical impulses continuously. Therefore, chemical communication is necessary in transmitting stimulus continuously to each and every cell. Because of this, the chemical communication has advantages than the electrical communication. These are the additional questions. Many of the students have been asked for the PDF. I'll be sharing in my WhatsApp group and Telegram channel. Do join and download the worksheet. Do study well for the examination. Unit: how do organisms reproduce? Very uh, conceptual chapter. That means if you understand the concepts, it is very easy to answer. I can say it is a simple chapter to score good marks. Do try to learn all these questions what we are going to discuss now, and also do watch the complete video. Name the part of the flower that develops into fruit, part of the seed that develops into root. The part of the flower that develops into fruit are ovary. The part of the seed that develops into root are radicle. Radicle develops into root, whereas the ovary develops into fruit. Next question. Diagram of LS of flower. Very important diagram for 2 marks. Do practice well to score 2 out of 4, 2 out of 2 in the examination. In sustaining reproductive fertility of a person, position of the testis in the body, secretion of the testosterone, secretion of the prostate glands are supplementary to each other. Explained scientifically. Sperm formation requires a lower temperature than the body temperature. The formation of sperm takes place at a temperature lower than the body temperature. Hence, the testosterone regulates and stimulates the formation of sperm. Secretion of prostate glands makes the transportation of sperm easier. Thus, reproductive fertility is sustained by formation and stimulation to the formation and proper transportation of sperm. This all helps in the sustaining what? Reproductive fertility of a person. Draw the diagram showing the germination of pollen and stigma and label with the part on which pollination takes place. This is a diagram of germination of pollen on stigma. In the given figure of cotyledon, the parts labeled as A and B respectively are: part A is primary shoot, part B is primary root. Shoot and root. Draw the diagram showing the germination of pollen on stigma and label the parts. Repeated question. Explain the significant function of each structure in human male reproductive system. Repeated question in many of the examinations. Testes, they produce sperms and testosterone hormone, which is responsible for the male characters. They produce sperms, which is a male gamete. Scrotum, they regulate the temperature necessary for the production of sperms. Urethra and vas deferens transport sperm from testes. Prostate gland and seminal vesicle, they add their secretion to make the sperm transport easier and provide nutrition to the sperm. Penis delivers the sperm to the site of fertilization. Explain the structure and important role of placenta during gestation period of women. During pregnancy, the embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of disc-shaped special tissue embedded in the uterine wall called as placenta. It contains villi on the developing side of tissue. Villi provides glucose and oxygen to pass from the mother to the embryo, removes waste generated from the embryo. So, during pregnancy, the placenta may plays a very important role in providing nutrition to the growing fetus, and also the waste generated with the fetus should be thrown out. That is also takes place through the placenta. How does menstruation occur? The uterus prepares itself every month to receive the fertilized egg. In case if it is not received, what happens? The lining slowly breaks and comes out to the vagina as blood and mucus. Explain the development of fertilized egg into fetus into the fertilized egg starts dividing and forms a ball of cells or embryo. The embryo is implanted in the lining of the uterus, where they continue to grow and develop organs to become fetus. In humans, how the surgical contraceptive methods can be used to prevent pregnancy. If the vas deferens in the man is blocked, the sperm transfer will be prevented. Fertilization will not take place. Whereas in case of women, fallopian tube is blocked, the egg will not reach the uterus. Fertilization will not take place. The correct sequence found in the process of sexual reproduction in a flower is: first is pollination, fertilization, embryo, then it is seed. The embryo gets nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of special part called as placenta. The common passage for both sperms and urine in human male reproductive system is urethra. Urethra is a common passage for urine as well as sperms. The part that develop into fruit and seed in a flower respectively are ovule and ovary. In human female reproductive system, the egg is carried from the ovary to the uterus through this part, through fallopian tube. A common bacterial infection that spreads through sexual contact in human, see, it is a bacterial infection, it is gonorrhea, others are viral infection. Virus, it is caused by virus. In human, sexually transmitted viral infection is AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is AIDS. In males, testes are located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum. Why? Because to maintain the lower temperature required for the formation of sperms than the normal body temperature. Hence, if the testes are located outside the abdominal cavity. LS of flower. Diagram for 2 marks. Do practice well. Part of flower in which the develops into fruit. It is ovary. Ovary develops into fruit, ovule. Let me repeat this. The ovule develops into a seed and ovary develops into a fruit. For first question, the part that develops into a fruit is ovary. And the seed is what? Ovule. The correct answer is option C, not B. The part that develops into fruit is ovary, seed is ovule. How does uterus prepares it to receive the fertilized egg in woman? What happens if the egg does not fertilize? Uterus prepares itself every month to receive the fertilized egg. It makes inner layer thick and spongy. If the egg is not fertilized, it leaves about 1 day. What happens if egg does not occur? The lining slowly breaks and comes out to the vagina as blood and mucus. This is how menstruation occurs. In humans, the testes are located outside the abdomen because to maintain the temperature required for the sperm production. Name the 2 examples of organisms that produce by binary fission, amoeba and leishmania. What is pollination? What are the changes that occur in the flower after pollination? The transfer of pollen from the stamen to the stigma is called as pollination. After pollination, pollen tube develops, the pollen grain enters the ovary to pollen tube and fuses with the ovum. A zygote is formed. Ovum develops into seed. Ovary grows rapidly and ripens into fruit. Petals, sepals, stamen, style and stigma may shrivel and fall off. Biological process that has been shown in the diagram is, it is a regeneration of tissues by the development of specialized cells. Therefore, the correct answer is C, regeneration. Reaching to sexual maturation is an essential event with respect to mammals like humans. In males, development of testes helps the production of sperm, and also male sex hormone testosterone for reproduction requires development of testes to have secondary sexual characters. During intercourse, erection of penis helps the transfer germ cells into the female body. In females, to cause menstrual cycle, for the production and release of ovum, for the secretion of women-related hormones, example estrogen, for the growth of breast to feed the baby after the childbirth. Dear students, these are the important questions you should study for the examination. Do learn all these questions to score good marks in the exam. Unit heredity and evolution, very important chapter. Definitely 4-mark question will be asked from this chapter. A pure dominant pea plant producing round yellow seeds is crossed with pure recessive pea plant producing wrinkled green seeds. The number of plants bearing round green seeds in F1 generation will be 0, because the dominant in F1 generation, the dominant will be produced. What are fossils? The preserved traces of living organism are called as fossils. What are the difference between analogous and homologous organs? Difference between sex chromosomes of man and sex chromosomes of woman. Sex of the child is determined by father. How? Difference between homologous organs of different organisms having common origin. Homologous common origin, analogous different origin. They have similar structure, perform different function. They have different structure, they perform what? Similar function. 4 limbs of frog and 4 limbs of bird. Wings of bird and wings of bat are analogous. Woman has perfect pair of sex chromosomes, that is both X, that is XX. Man has normal size chromosome X and other short size chromosome Y. A child who inherits X chromosome from her father will be a girl, and a child who inherits Y chromosome from his father will be a boy. Both girl and the boy inherit only X chromosome from the mother. Therefore, the sex of the child is determined by the father. Observe the following table, which shows the contrasting forms of pea plants. Color of the seed G, and green is capital G, yellow is small g. Position of the flower axial capital A, terminal P. Therefore, it is the genetic makeup with green seed. It will be capital G, small g. With terminal flowers, it is small a, small e. Therefore, the correct answer is option D. Name the factor responsible for speciation. The factors that is responsible for speciation is natural selection, genetic, geographical isolation, and also the variations are the reasons for the responsible for speciation. How does relative method help to determine the age of fossils? Gives the information that fossils which are closer to the surface are more recent than those in the deeper layers. Next question, experiences of an individual during his lifetime cannot be direct evolution. Change in the non-reproductive tissues cannot be passed on to the DNA of germ cells. Experiences gained by the organism is not transferred to the DNA, hence cannot be transferred to the next generation. Chromosomes inherited from father determine the sex of the child, because if the baby inherits X chromosome from the father, it will be a girl. If it is Y, it is a boy. Hence, father decides the sex of the child. The gene for brown colored hair is recessive that of a gene for black colored hair. What is the hair color of a person who has inherited gene from brown colored hair from mother and black colored hair from the father? So it will be black colored hair because it is dominant. The plant bearing yellow colored seed are self-pollinated with same plant represents the result in F2 generation of dihybrid cross with the help of checkerboard. Mention the varieties of plants produced in F2 generation. This is dihybrid cross experiment, the cross between two individuals which differs in two traits. So do learn the monohybrid cross experiment and also dihybrid cross experiment. I'll explain these two experiments in detail in separate video. Do practice well. Definite question for your examination. What is evolution? Name the 3 evidences for evolution. What is evolution? Phenomenon of gradual change of organism from simple form to into complex form in a long period is called as evolution. 3 evidences for evolution are homologous, analogous organs, and also fossils. This I have explained. In difference between, you can write. Explain the 2 methods to estimate the age of fossils. One is relative method. If we dig into the fossils which we find closer to the Earth's surface are more recent than the fossils we find in the deeper layers by detecting the ratio of different isotopes of the same element in the fossil. Again, it is Dihybrid cross experiment do learn if round green seeded pea plant is caused with wrinkle seeded pea plant, the seeds produced in F1 generally round and it will be yellow seed because they are dominant. Homologous organs have same structure but perform different function. The experiences of an individual during his lifetime cannot be passed on his progeny because they are acquired traits. Tall pea plants having round seeds are crossed with dwarf pea plants with having wrinkled seeds. The progeny obtained in it will be tall with round because they are dominant. You can see the capital letter indicates the dominance. Analogous organs have different structure but they perform the same function. In the genotypic ratio of F2 generation of Mendel's monohybrid cross experiment is 1:2:1. Phenotypic ratio is 3:1. When tall pea plant is crossed with dwarf pea plant, represent the result in F2 generation. With the help of Chakraborty, mention the ratios of varieties plant. See, it's very simple experiment, monohybrid cross experiment for the 3 marks. Do practice well. The experiences of an individual acquired during its lifetime cannot be passed on its progeny. Give reason. Change in non-reproductive tissues cannot be passed on to the DNA of germ cells. Mention the 4 factors that lead to the rise of new species. Geographical isolation, natural selection, inheritance of traits, genetic drift or gene flow, variation or mutation or changes in the DNA. These are the reasons for the speciation or the evolution of new species. What are fossils? Mention the methods of estimation of dating fossils and explain briefly. Already we have learned this question. Name the sexes of child born by receiving X chromosome from father. It will be female child or baby girl. Can the wings of butterfly and wings of bat be considered as analogous? If yes, why? If no, why? Yes, these structures are considered as analogous because the wings of bat and wings of bat both are useful for flight, that is same function, but their design and origin are not same. An individual cannot pass the experience acquired during his lifetime to the progenies because it does not change anything in the non-reproductive tissues. The change in the non-reproductive tissues cannot be passed on to the DNA of the germ cells. Hence, this cannot pass to the next generation. For example, if you breed a group of mice, all the progeny will have tails. Now, if the tails of these mice are removed by surgery in each generation, the tailless mice produce tailed progeny because the removal of tail cannot change the genes of the germ cells. Again, monohybrid cross experiment. Mention the 2 used for tracing evolutionary relationship between the organism. Excavating, time dating, study fossil, determining DNA sequences. These are the evolutionary tools, tracing tools which we trace for evolutionary relationship. Dihybrid cross experiment for 4 marks. Do practice well. Analyze the situation given below. Situation: the number of green grasshoppers in a green zone has been increasing from one generation because natural selection is possible among the organism of new generation. Green grasshoppers, new combination genetic may have been accumulating and genetic drift increases. In what is situation 2, the number of brown grasshoppers in the same green zone have been reducing because natural selection is not possible. Due to this, the number of brown grasshoppers is reduced, may disappear in future, so the natural selection is an important event. Next question. Student A tells student B that wing of bird and arm of human are analogous. Student B replies both of them are analogous. Whose answer is correct? Student B's answer is correct because They might have evolved from the common ancestor. The basic structure of wing and arm is similar. They perform different function. They are analogous. Dihybrid. Again, monohybrid cross experiment, and traits cannot be passed, which the experiences of an individual acquired during his lifetime cannot be passed his progeny. Dear students, these are the other important questions for your examination. You can see that monohybrid experiment, dihybrid cross experiment is very important. How the sex of the child is determined, and fossils, how to determine the age of fossils. All these are important questions. Do try to learn and practice all these questions. The next two chapters, our environment as well as sustainable management of natural resources, I leave it to you to study for the examination. During the next live revision classes, I may cover this chapters for revision. Dear students, do study well for your examination. Do watch the videos, the revision classes what I have conducted for physics and chemistry. Do watch the complete video. Do try to understand. Do learn the concept from the textbook. Do read the textbook, make points and make key points and key words, and study well. If you have not subscribed the channel, do subscribe the channel. Definitely it will be useful for your examination. Thank you for watching the video.